Mold City Council in order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Jeffrey,
Here.
Brubaker,
Here.
Kimmons,
Here.
Davis, Kaiser.
Here. Thank you. Anything else we're going to add to the agenda, Mr. Crane, or is it set? Okay. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda? Is there a second? Been seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Skipping down to ordinances and resolutions. Start with ordinance number 1.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to issue a declaration of emergency for Mobley, Missouri.
Motion for the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to issue a declaration of emergency for Moberly, Missouri.
All right, you heard the first reading. Discussion. I guess I have the first question, which is, when this ordinance, if we pass it, will actually take effect. It says, Section 3, this ordinance shall take immediate effect upon passage. Section 2, city manager is hereby authorized to act on behalf of the mayor and city council in effectuating the terms of declaration. So are we not going to function after tonight? Or I'm not really understanding the sequencing of this.
Potentially, if the need arises where we can't get together in the council, we'll have to take action to continue our operations. So yes, the potential is there.
Well, it takes effect in the sense that, I mean, once it's passed, Brian has probably greater authority to act than he does beforehand. And that's why we're doing it, so Brian can act for staff purposes. Not really, this declaration doesn't involve us issuing orders like you've seen in the major metropolitan areas where they're closing businesses, they're shutting down commerce. This is really more to deal with Brian's authority to act as city manager in the event he needs to, for purposes of staff functions for the most part.
Well, I guess I'm just new to all this, so and looking at the definition there under, I guess it would be number 6, power to purchase or lease goods and services deemed necessary to the city's emergency response and for the repair of city facilities, or both are required to distribute with or without compensation of supplies, materials, facilities. The next one, power to transfer, appropriate, or lend between the funds that may be necessary in the circumstances. So how long is this going to take effect?
It is in effect until it's either stopped by ordinance, by, I think it says the mayor, or by the city manager, is what the declaration says. Yeah. Any three of those entities can act to end the declaration.
And we're not giving Brian or anybody else any powers other than addressing the COVID-19 emergency, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is all about just emergency response.
I mean,
Okay.
Right.
you
Yeah,
can-
we're going to be building a baseball field or anything.
Oh. No, that's a good point.
That was what I was trying to get
Just want to
to.
clarify that we're, I mean, not
No,
that
only in
we don't
response to something that's occurring because of the
give him
contagious
broad
disease.
powers to act in accordance with the emergency of the virus.
Like, for example, we don't necessarily stock supplies and equipment specific to a pandemic outbreak.
Sure.
Or budget for that through our normal budget process. But like last week, we were able to find a supply of, most people call it like Germex, or the hand sanitizer. And, we didn't anticipate buying $2,000 worth of hand sanitizer. but we need it now. And without, going to the council and going through the formal bidding process, the supply might have been gone by the time I had to say, let's buy it. So being able to act quickly in these times of need, specifically with supplies, but also personnel or shifting resources to make those purchases, that's what this is all about for the pandemic that's in place now.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem. I think it's a great idea. As long as it'd be subject to review if we didn't like something to do.
Well, I guess I was thinking we're in budget time, so I was like, well, this is going to be applied to a whole lot of things.
I don't think it means it's going to be.
No, I understand that now. That's why I asked the question.
That's
why I asked the question.
But I think that is,
It's not a question. You get $5 million every season.
but
We're gonna be all right. And if it goes south, the way the resolution's written, it's the mayor's fault, so we know what's right up front, because you relinquished authority.
Well, I'll go to New York and we'll take care of that issue because I'll be a martyr. Okay, so any more discussion? If not, we'll hear the second reading.
What does it
Ordinance
take, I'm sorry, what does it take to take back control of the city council? Is it just the mayor deciding it?
Or the city council.
Or the city,
the city
we can get
manager.
together as a city council and say we want to pass?
You have to repeal the
Can
ordinance.
repeal or revoke the declaration.
Will that be necessary at some point down the road when they?
I think we will want to.
I hope so.
Yes. No, I think we will want to take formal action to revoke it at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
You would want to record that as
Right,
revoking.
right. So that Brian doesn't build a ball.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just
We
to-
don't want to show up tomorrow and say, okay, I think Brian an hour or something like that,
Yeah, if he and Hodge are like sporting Escalades around town,
This is
not the code enforcement.
yeah.
We're thinking about building another 18-hole golf course.
All right, we won't do that. So anyway, second reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to issue a declaration of emergency for Moberly, Missouri.
All right, you heard the second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Been motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Motion carries. And we'll move on to number 2, resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution adopting a contingency plan for mitigating the spread of pandemic virus.
There's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
The resolution adopting a contingency plan for mitigating the spread of pandemic virus.
All right, you've heard the reading. Any discussion?
Why do we need this? I'm just out of curiosity.
Typically, we wouldn't. The previous action would have given me enough authority to put this in place, but this is what we are telling our employees that we're trying to accomplish through this pandemic, is to try to minimize contact with employees and citizens. So this is kind of the first step, and with this pandemic, it's really kind of setting up the framework how we're going to operate during this crisis.
But you really don't need our blessing to do that.
No, but since we were meeting, it just made sense to set it up.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just kind of.
And Brian, I would add to that, I agree with what you said, that this came about between when we prepared the declaration and called the meeting, and this plan came about. And I think we thought, well, since we're meeting, why don't we just let you all know what it is we're planning to do?
This applies to city employees, something like that.
Yeah. So you're probably right, we wouldn't have needed to, but it's good for you to know.
Yeah.
But without that declaration, for example, and without having the rules in place, we're probably getting ready to start a work from home policy that you see in here.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
We've never done that in the past, but it seems like that's one of the best methods for trying to reduce contact, is allowing those those individuals that can, non-essential employees, to do that. So you'll see that in there, and then you'll also see how we're structuring flex time and trying to rotate shifts.
So if a person is tested positive and they have to be quarantined, how does that affect their sick days?
Well, you can see we have that in the plan as well. Did the,
In HR 6301, which is what do they call it, the Family Relief Act, which was passed last week, there are three things that directly affect us that we are required to do by law now, and that is if someone were to test or if they had to stay home to take care of a family member who had tested, they are entitled to 80 hours of COVID leave on top of whatever our benefits are for sick time. And we can't make them take other leave before they're entitled to the COVID leave, so they're entitled to 80 hours. And then they're entitled to 12 weeks of FMLA is extended for another 12 weeks on top of what they would normally get. So,
and was that signed by the president yet?
yes.
Okay. So
But
that's
FMLA leave is not paid leave, is it?
No, it's delayed.
The benefits are paid.
Can't take with their spot, it's just
Yeah.
all the FMLA.
I thought they had to use their sick leave first. I swore.
Well, we've got to update this. 'Cause
Oh,
this was
okay, I
drafted.
swore it was in there, they had to use all paid leave first and then use the,
Not under
Not
the
passed.
code.
Not in the
make
code.
sure it's not in this though.
No, you're right, it is.
That's what I thought.
Oh, in that document?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll have to update.
Yeah, you need to, before we.
Well, it won't be
pass it.
subject to federal law, whatever the federal law
Okay,
is. so.
but in here, it says that you have to use your sick days.
That's the, yeah, I see what you're saying, that's the HR policy, but what he's saying is going to trump that,
Right.
supersede.
So we'll update, we'll have the authority now to update that plan now that
Yeah,
the.
I mean, federal law trumps everything.
Right.
God, I hate to use that word.
I know, I tried not to do it for you,
But yeah, we did have a provision in there that they had to exhaust their other leave first.
Yeah.
But then he's saying that we can't do that anymore as of Thursday, I think.
Do we need to change this before we pass it, or?
We've already given you the authority to do it in the last,
Well,
in the
I mean,
last
it's as
ordinance.
fast,
We're
as
getting ready to pass
as
this
fluid as this is, it's hard to make every plan up to date.
I mean, we don't need to change this resolution before we vote.
I don't think we do,
Okay.
because we have to comply with federal law.
I got you.
And then also our group health plan, we have to provide COVID testing free of charge. I mean, we can't charge back on that. So that's also part of that bill. It's COVID-19 testing for employees. That's part of our group health plan. So we haven't really heard back from our carrier about how they're going to
Coded.
code that, but
That go for council members too, or
you're on the plan.
is that under the SLL plan?
Yeah, that's under that one.
Comes out there, who gives that?
Anybody else? Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Moving on to number 3, resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting the bid of Thinks Fiber for internet service at City Hall. I ask that it be read once for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting the bid of Think's Fiber for internet service at City Hall.
Okay, Mr. Curry.
Yeah, so this was one of those items we've talked about in the past, and MCM is our current provider, and we had some concerns about their ability to push more bandwidth to us. With a lot of people working from home, that's going to be tapping into our server through a VPN. So we wanted to have something in place in case MCM isn't working properly, that we can change to a new provider rather quickly. So with us meeting today, this is another one of those items where, a week from now, if I needed to do this, I could have with declaration. But since we're meeting today, we want to get this in front of you and just let you know that the plan is to continue with MCM as long as they can provide us enough bandwidth. But it is a microwave from their tower to here. We had some concern about reliability from our IT person. So as long as I think Greg's communicating with MCM and they're able to continue to provide us that bandwidth, we'll probably stay in that lane. But if for some reason we need to go straight fiber into the building to give us enough bandwidth, we'll do that. So this puts that in place.
What's the MCM, how many megabytes are they providing?
Right now, we're at about 50, but we're about ready to load up a bunch of employees not working here, but tapping in remotely. So he was talking about increasing to 250 maybe? 250 is what we think we need through our IT consultant to.
MCM says it's talking about bumping it to 250.
I don't know if they can do that without fiber optic.
I think that's about maxing out the
wire.
connection. That's about as fast as we can go with it.
Yeah.
He said he will dial it
So
up.
how do you measure that at City Hall or wherever you want to say your
We do a
services?
speed test.
So you will
So
measure.
we'll check it. Yeah.
It's not always what they say it is.
Well, and another way we measure it through speed tests and then we measure it through employee complaints. So, hey, this isn't working, what's going on,
What's
What could be public
MCM,
complaints?
what's MCM going to charge us for what you do?
They said they're keeping the rate the same.
Which is,
We spend about $1,400 a year, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in that range, right around there, 14,
it's
15
not bad,
minutes.
it's 100%.
So it's less than
It's
Phoenix.
less than Phoenix. But we were, only around 50 megabytes. So.
Yeah, because I know when we were sitting here trying to load our council packets a couple of times, we're not getting any.
Brian, does Phoenix have the ability to go higher?
Yeah.
I noticed they all kind of bid different amounts.
Yep, we went off of what our Fusion, our IT consultant recommended a minimum of 250 with this added load. So that's what we priced as the base.
So Phoenix is, compared to, I don't know who Bluebird is, but compared to Bluebird, man, they're really,
Yeah.
and Socket, very competitive.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with the build required from Bluebird or Socket. And then some of them just have different pricing models for commercial, but Phoenix is definitely very aggressive on their commercial accounts.
I do like Phoenix. I do have the store. I've had up and down service, but for the price, I think we're fine.
Which one's that? Phoenix?
But I've had issues, but
They're the ones putting in the fiber optic.
all over downtown, yeah.
Paying some.
We both done separate ones.
Okay, anyone else? Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come in front of the council?
One close session.
Yeah. All right, there's nothing.
Motion to go. Closed session.
Okay, motion to go to closed session.
I'll second.
What, no. Motion to adjourn followed by closed session.
He'll motion and I'll second.
And then there's a second. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.